Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to Turnaround Coach. I'm Sherry, and I am here to help you with your transformation in your organization in a way that keeps you on track to success. We all know that transforming an organization can be hard, and I think one of the biggest challenges is that every plan has to be tailored to the needs of your organization. However, I can also tell you that all turnarounds tend to focus around the same specific areas. We just have to figure out which areas your organization needs the most support in so that you can move yourself forward quicker, faster, and stronger. All right, so this week, I want to talk about another key component of doing a turnaround with your business, small business, your large business, your school, whatever organization you are leading. It really is important to think about these key metrics when you're moving forward to making change. And this week, I want to talk to you about staying focused on successful strategies. Focus is a key component to moving anything that you do from here to here, right? Even in your personal life. Let's just kind of step back for a second and think about if you started, I'm a runner. So let's take running as an example. If you started a training program because you wanted to run a 5K in 6 weeks, right? First off, you know that you would have to have a plan because you're not going to run on Monday and then run your 5K on Tuesday, especially if you've never run before in your life, right? So you have to have a plan. And when you generate and make this plan, and then you start to work through it, you have to stay consistent, and that takes focus. If you start to focus on other things, oh, well, my friend wanted to go to the movie, so I've skipped run number 4 and I went to the movie. Oh, my husband wanted to go out to dinner, so I skipped run 6 and went out to dinner. Oh, my daughter needed something, so I skipped run 8 to go. You see what I'm saying here? You're starting to get distracted. You're letting your focus go in a direction that gives you pleasure for sure, but it takes away your ability to stay consistent with your training. And what's going to end up happening when you get to run number, let's say number 36, which is your actual day to run your 5K, then you're going to feel it. You're not going to be where you wanted to be. You're not going to be able to do your very, very best. And you may end up saying to yourself, this really sucked. I'm never going to do this again, right? And then you stop, which actually running for you could have been something really, really great. But because you were not fully prepared, then your experience was a bad one, and nobody wants to repeat a bad experience. So now let's take that and think about your organization. If you are in a place, especially if you're doing a turnaround and you need to make some change pretty quickly, you're doing that because something hasn't been working, right? And it is really important for you to stay focused on the successful strategies that you are implementing so that you can make that change and move forward faster. Now, I've said this before, if you've been watching these over the weeks, our staff is super crucial. Our clients are very crucial to our success, right? If we don't have clients, we're not going to generate funds, and then we're not going to make money. If we don't have employees working along the same path as we are, if they're not following our mission and vision, then we're going to have people working in all different directions, and we're not going to get to our end goal. But what ends up happening is that it's really easy to stay in a place where you're doing the same thing that you were doing before because it's familiar. So let me give you an example. When I first took over at this last school, one of the first things that my assistant principal and I noticed when we went into a planning session, so teachers had planning once a week, and we would go in and be there as a support, but mainly just to kind of gather information right at first to see, are teachers talking about the right skills, and are they getting kids the right activities and teaching it in the right way? And I honestly was shocked, and she was as well. And I remember us looking at each other from across the room, and we walked immediately to my office after the first session, didn't even attend the other sessions that day. And we had to generate a new plan, because here's what happened. The instructional specialist, who is basically the leader of planning, walked in, handed everybody a lesson plan that was already generated, and said, okay, this is what you're going to teach for the week. Do you have any questions? Okay, have a great day. We really are here to support you. And if you need me, just let me know. Now, it wasn't the instructional specialist's problem, because she was told to do that. That was how they did things here. But the issue was the lesson plan written by her was all about how she rode horses. And she connected riding horses and doing different things with her horses to the reading story that they were going to be working on about horses. Well, myself, yes, I've ridden a horse before, but I'm not an expert with horses. And some of the things in that lesson plan, I had to go, whoa, I don't know anything about this. How can I teach this? How can I talk about this? How is this relevant to what my students need? Because at that school, nobody had a horse. I mean, I'm sure they all knew what a horse was. That's common knowledge, but nobody had experiences with horses. So now how were the teachers going to connect the students and engage them in that learning? You see what I'm saying? When we sat down to question some of the practices revolving around that, basically we just heard everyone say, this is how it's been done. So this is how we do things here. And it was really a challenging process for myself and my assistant principal to put this new plan in place, communicate it out, and actually get the teachers to get on board with it. Because they kept wanting to go back to, well, someone's just going to hand me a lesson plan, instead of them working together collaboratively to develop a lesson plan that was really going to be engaging for the specific students that we had in our school. So now take that to your business. Regardless of the content, regardless of what you sell, who you sell to, who you work with, regardless of what that process is, you have to remember there are going to be strategies in place, especially if you're doing a turnaround, that are not getting you where you need to go. And when you make change and you want to use more successful strategies, you have to stay focused on those, because the first thing your staff is going to want to do is go back to the way things were, because it was comfortable, because it's how they did things. It's because that's what they know. And when you make change is already challenging, right? And then when they don't see yet the success from using the new strategies, then that's going to hinder their progress as well. So I'm going to give you a few tips that I highly suggest as you go into your turnaround. And you can use this whether you're coming in new, they don't know you like I was at the time, or if this is your business, your organization, you've been there, but things just have gotten off track, you can use this as well. So the very first thing I think that you have to always make sure that you do is that you're very transparent with your people, okay? Make sure to talk to them about, okay, this is what we're doing, and this is the result we're getting. A few episodes ago, we talked about staying focused on results, right? This is another reason why you need to do that, because data doesn't lie. Now, I never say just look at one piece of data. You always have to make sure that you bring in the whole picture, right? But when you bring in the picture and you're able to say to your people, look, we've been doing X, Y, and Z. And as a result of those three things, this is what the data tells us. Tell me if you feel like, and this gets them involved, and they feel like they have a voice, and they feel like they're part of the team, and it helps you really understand what is actually going on. So it's not just lip service. Tell me, people, why are we getting these results from these strategies, and we stay focused on these strategies? Are they working? Do we need to make change? That's step number one. That really will get you to a place where you all can be now level and know exactly what's happening. Then I think one of the most important things you have to do is you have to then say, okay, guys, look, we're going to have to make some changes. I know that these changes are going to be hard. I want to be able to support you through the change, and I need you to be able to support me through the change. We are a team. When we make these changes, we all need to be able to commit to trying them and trying them within a specified amount of time, not just try them one time, right? But try them, we'll collect data, and then we'll determine if they're working or not, and we can always adjust. But here is what such and such research, whatever you want to pull, says are best practices for us to use. We're going to try these. We're going to make them work for us within our content, right? Within our organization. And then we will monitor them to see if they're being successful. And what you need to do as the leader is make sure that you are monitoring and that you are pointing out more often successes rather than when things are not going well. This is that time where I like the 3-to-1 ratio. I always use that with students as well. When they misbehave, I always try to give them 3 compliments after their misbehavior. When you're making this kind of change, it's going to be hard and you know it. If you only point out the way your staff or your people, your clients, your customers, whatever, are not doing it the way you want it to be done, then they're going to be discouraged and they're going to give up. So what you need to do is really make note. I need to make sure, and even if you put a little sticky on a clipboard or, on your little notebook, give yourself little reminders. I need to make sure I'm pointing out positives within this change, so that people feel like, okay, I can do this. She's noticing, he's noticing the work that I'm doing. And then finally, you do have to be very honest with your staff. If you find that you have people that give you really great lip service, yes, ma'am, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to make this happen. And then they shut their door to their office, or they go out and meet with a client or whatever it is that they do, and they do it the old way, and you know about it, you need to address it. You need to be honest. You need to be open, not in a way that is condescending, demeaning, anything like that, but you do need to ask the hard questions. That's your responsibility. Sherry, we talked about changing our process for X. You came into the meeting, you were very much on board. You actually made the comment that you were excited to go implement this process. Yesterday, I received a call from one of our customers that you did the old process with them. And they were quite shocked because after having a conversation with me, they felt like things were going to change. They didn't feel a change when they had their conversation with you. And so it had them confused. So talk to me, what's going on? That right there, nobody's accusing anybody of anything so far, right? We're confused. I'm hearing from a customer. I need to dig into this a little bit more. And you're opening the door up for them to talk to you. Talk to me about what's going on. Chances are 90% of the time, the person's going to open up with you and say, oh, yeah, you're right. I really felt like I could do it. But then when I got out there, it just felt so uncomfortable. I wasn't ready for the change. I didn't prepare. It just didn't happen. Or you might even be surprised. You might get, you're right, I didn't do it. I don't agree with it. And that can open a whole nother conversation. Okay, why did you say you were going to do this if you had intentions of not doing it? It makes me feel like maybe we're not on a team together. Maybe we're not moving in the same direction together. You see how this could actually really help you out. Will it be a little uncomfortable at first? Absolutely. But if you have a person on the bus that's not driving in the same direction, then they probably need to get off the bus, right? And that may just help your organization soar moving forward. All right, guys. So as I always promise, I don't want to keep these too long. And I think I was long-winded last week. So I'm going to wrap up this week's session on Turnaround Coach. But remember, it's super important that you really have your whole crew, your whole team moving in the same direction when you are in the process of a turnaround, of transforming your organization, no matter what the organization is. And you can't do that if once you start to implement new strategies, especially the ones that are showing that you have been successful, then if they're not all on the same page with you, then you're going to be going in 60 different directions and you're never going to get there. So I am going to leave you with that this week. As always, if you want more information about performing a turnaround or going through a transformation, I have multiple levels of ways that you can work with me. Of course, always I start with a discovery call and my free workbook that you can take and implement on your own immediately. And if you need more support than that, of course, we can discuss that during our discovery call. So get on my calendar. Have you even gone to the website yet? I'm going to link my website today into the show notes so that you can go check it out, see all of the great things happening at Sherry Dixon Consulting, and see if maybe we might be a good fit to help you transform your organization into one that is thriving in the world of business. All right, I'll see you next week right here on Turnaround Coach.